Hi, I'm Anika Chapin, Signature's Director of Artistic Development, and welcome to Into the Words, a series where we look at songs from musicals and discover how they work and what they tell us about plot and character. In this series, we focused on songs from classic shows to analyze, but new musicals also have great songs that contain multitudes. And it just so happens that at Signature, we have an extraordinary new musical called Private Jones on our stages right now, written and directed by Marshall Paylett. The whole score is wonderful, but I wanted to spotlight a song that's especially good at giving insight into a closed-off character's complex emotional state. Over the course of the song, he wrestles with a past decision and chooses to leave that past behind, and in so doing, sows the seeds for a dark future to come. So, some background. Private Jones is about Gomer Jones, a Welsh teenager who has recently lost his hearing due to an illness. Despite his deafness, he longs to join the army and fight in World War I, like most of the rest of the men and boys in his town, but he can't pass the hearing test that is part of the enlistment process. Alone and isolated, he meets a nurse, Gwendolyn, who introduces him to a factory where deaf workers make munitions for the army, and they become friends. She asks him to stay at the factory where he can do some good, but Gomer's pull towards the army is too great, and he decides to cheat on the test and enlist, going back on his word to Gwendolyn. He becomes part of the 11th Battalion, where he bonds with some of his fellow soldiers, and for the first time, voluntarily tells someone about his deafness. One of the soldiers asks him if he can hear his own thoughts, and he sings this song trying to illustrate what it's like inside his head.
Can I hear me thoughts? I don't know if I've ever thought of me thoughts before. Think of walking down a footpath, caught inside a forest, not a bird inside. Above you's darkness, to the side is darkness, but in front's an opening, spilling morning light. I hear every inch of what's forward, so forward I look towards that side, but I never hear the voices of the paths I never run.
Right from the beginning, we can hear that Gomer is in a different emotional state than we've ever seen from him. The sound of his music up until this point has been full of bluster and bravado and frustration. He's a teenage boy who wants to fight. This music is something very different, quiet, contemplative, tentative. He's comfortable with these people and opening up. But he's also not a character who is very good at self-reflection. It's probable that he's never been asked this question before and probably never actually thought about it at all. We can hear this in both his music and lyrics, that he's working his way through it as he sings it. The lyrics are a little choppy, like he's finding each phrase at a time, and the melody is climbing up a step at a time, then retreating back. It sounds like what he's saying, that he's finding his way on a path that isn't entirely clear. He's trying to paint a picture of what his lack of hearing feels like to him. There's darkness all around him, except for where he's looking, because he can read lips. But he's also describing how he lives his life. He's only moving forward towards a singular goal. He has wanted one thing, which is to join the army, and we can feel how much joy he feels in this goal. It's the morning light at the end of the path. But then there's something different. After the joy of that light ahead of him, the melody pulls down into something more bittersweet when he's apologizing to the voices on the path that he forgot. In his life, sprinting towards the goal of joining the army has meant abandoning a friend, and he still feels guilty about that, and we can hear it.
Does that make sense?
No.
The things that don't really matter, you pay no attention. And soon their sound burns away. You set your sight on that forward something. Nothing turns you sideways, lest you choose to turn away. But you hear every inch of what's forward, so forward you look towards that sun. And who cares, I lose the voices of the paths I didn't run. I saw the path that would bring me here. I saw the path of the South Wales
Gomer asks his fellow soldiers if what he's saying makes sense, and they hilariously agree it does not. Rightfully so, Gomer is a character who can barely read, who has lived mostly alone as a sheep farmer. Expressing his feelings poetically or even thinking about them doesn't come naturally to him. So what he's singing here is a bit of a mishmash of images and metaphors and crossed senses and feelings. And feelings are hard for him. We will see in this show that his tendency is to shut out everything he doesn't want to feel, which will be a dangerous thing for him. In this second section, we see some of this. In the first section, he was trying to describe what it felt like to be in his own head, with imagery that felt passive and peaceful, a dark and quiet woods with a beaming light ahead of him. But now what he's describing is more aggressive and more self-imposed. Things that don't really matter. You don't pay attention and they burn away. You're not pulled away by the things trying to take your focus off the goal. And who cares if he loses the voices from the other path? This is all kind of things he says. In the first section, he was apologizing to them. Now he's saying they don't matter. He felt guilty earlier, but now he's pushing away his feelings and making them go away. This is foreshadowing a version of Gomer we're going to see later in the show, who becomes a successful sniper by isolating himself and shutting out all other feelings. But then we can hear him focus back on the goal he had, to be a South Wales borderer, which he now is. And we can hear again the joy in this. This is what he wanted, and he loves it, even if it means complicated feelings about what he left behind. He is happy with these people, and we can hear that.
Now I'm standing at the end of a footpath, at the edge of a forest. Now I see the birds. What's behind's forgotten, to the side forgotten, and the sound's forgotten, and so too the words. And I'm sorry to the voices of the path that I forgot.
This verse is very different from his vision at the beginning. He was lost in the middle of a forest, couldn't hear anything, no birds, only darkness and the vision of what was ahead that he ran towards. Now he's at the edge of the forest, through the footpath, and he can see the birds. It's not that there isn't still darkness, but he's chosen to forget everything around him that isn't what he wants to see, and that's a big difference. The actor who plays Gwendolyn is double cast as one of the soldiers, and in this moment she takes off her soldier hat, a visible reminder of the person Gomer has left behind. After Gomer says, "And the sound's forgotten, and so too the words," he signs, "I hear everything forward, forward I look," before singing his apology to Gwendolyn, now present in the form of the actor, the voice of the path that he forgot. The world he is leaving behind is the world of the factory, where he could be openly and safely deaf, but not fighting on the front. He is saying goodbye to that path here. So this song has shown us a lot about this character at this point. His attempt to describe the world inside his head has shown us more than he perhaps originally intended. He is determined to focus only on what is in front of him, shutting out anything that surrounds him, including very human feelings like guilt or regret. He will act like a sniper, only seeing what is through his sight. And despite his joy at finding this community in the 11th Battalion, this tendency to shut out anything he doesn't want to acknowledge will ultimately cause him to come close to losing his humanity entirely. This song has shown us both the longing of an ambitious and unself-reflective young boy, and also given us a glimpse at what it means for him to be deaf. But it has also shown us a key tendency of Gomer's, one that will be potentially quite devastating for him. He has chosen a path, and it might just be the wrong one, and we hear that all right here in this song.